The vibe inside NRG Stadium is shifting rapidly because a massive financial decision is looming over the future of our franchise. As a Texans insider, I can tell you that the front office is facing a crossroads that could define the next decade of Houston football. This young star, the very face of our rebuild, is eligible for a life-altering contract that has every fan holding their breath. We have seen other cornerstone players get paid, but this specific situation is different. It is about more than just money. It is about loyalty. Stroud is the name on everyone's lips, and the situation regarding his potential extension is becoming a high-stakes chess match between the team and his representation. After watching his draft classmate Will Anderson secure a staggering $150 million deal just last month, the spotlight has naturally shifted to our franchise quarterback. The front office knows they have a generational talent under center, but the timing of this deal is incredibly tricky because he still has significant time left on his rookie contract. We are looking at a scenario where the second overall pick from 3 years ago could be in line for a massive payday before the 2026 season even begins. However, the market for a signal caller of his caliber is currently in a state of flux. While some league executives suggest an offer between $42 and $45 million annually might be on the table, there are strong indications that his camp, led by powerful agent David Mulugheta, would likely turn that down. This is not just about a simple raise, it is about the skyrocketing value of the position across the entire league. If you look at what Patrick Mahomes earns, which is around $45 million a year, you can see why a top-tier young talent might want even more. The Texans have a history of taking care of their stars early, but this negotiation is complicated by a 2-year sample size that some critics call bumpy. Even so, the front office has to weigh the risk of waiting against the cost of paying him now. General Manager Nick Caserio and head coach DeMeco Ryans are surely discussing how to handle this delicate balance. They want to keep their leader happy while maintaining enough cap space to build a championship roster around him. The reality is that the bill is coming due sooner than many expected, and the numbers being discussed are enough to make any fan's head spin. We are talking about a player who has already changed the culture in Houston, making this decision one of the most consequential in the history of the organization. The pressure is on to find a number that reflects his value without crippling the team's future flexibility. The core of the issue lies in how the salary cap is projected to explode over the next few years. If this elite playmaker signs a deal today that does not account for that growth, he could find himself severely underpaid by the time the extension actually kicks in during the 2028 season. He currently has 2 years remaining on his rookie scale, plus a 5th-year option worth $25 million. That means any new money would not even touch the books for a while. By then, the market for top-tier passers will likely have shifted so far that a $45 million annual salary would look like a massive bargain for the team. This is exactly why his representatives are being so cautious about putting pen to paper right now. They understand that waiting just 1 more year could potentially add tens of millions of dollars to the total value of the contract. From the perspective of the front office, locking him in now would be a masterstroke of financial planning. It would provide cost certainty for the most important position on the field and allow them to plan their aggressive moves in free agency. However, for the athlete, there is a legitimate risk of selling himself short if he does not hold out for a number that starts with a 5. We are talking about a guy who has slimmed down this offseason and looks more determined than ever to prove he belongs in the top tier of the league. If he goes out and has an MVP caliber season, his price tag will only go up. The locker room already views him as the undisputed leader, so any perceived disrespect in negotiations could have ripple effects. The team has shown a willingness to be aggressive with contracts in the past, as we saw with the recent defensive end signing, but this is a much larger investment. It requires a level of trust that the recent progress we have seen will continue on an upward trajectory. If the growth remains steady, paying him mid-50s money might actually be the smartest thing to do before the market resets again. It is a fascinating look into the business side of the sport we love so much. When you boil it all down, this situation is going to determine whether the Texans can keep their window for a Super Bowl open for a long time. If the team pays him too much too early, they might not have enough cash left over to sign great wide receivers or solid offensive linemen to protect him. We have seen other teams struggle to win after their young passers take up a huge chunk of the budget. On the other hand, if they wait too long and the price keeps going up, they might end up in a messy situation where they have to use the franchise tag. That usually leads to unhappy players and a lot of drama that no fan wants to deal with. The goal is simple. Find a way to keep him in Houston for the rest of his career, while still having a team that can compete with the best in the AFC. Every game he plays from here on out is basically an audition for that next big check. If he plays well, he wins, and the team wins. But if there are struggles on the field, the front office might start to hesitate. This creates a lot of pressure on every single snap. Fans just want to see the team win games, and finally bring a trophy to the city. To do that, you need a stable situation at the most important spot on the roster. Right now, things feel a little bit uncertain because we do not know if a deal will get done before the next season starts. If they can reach an agreement, it would be a huge relief for everyone involved. It would let the players focus entirely on football instead of worrying about business. But if the talks stall, it will be the biggest story surrounding the team all year long. We all remember the years of searching for a real leader under center, and now that we have one, the stakes couldn't be higher. This move will either solidify a dynasty or force the team to make some very difficult choices about who they can afford to keep in the locker room. Let's look at the two very different paths this could take for our beloved team. In the best-case scenario, both sides find a middle ground this summer that makes everyone happy. The player gets the security of a long-term deal that recognizes him as a top 10 talent, and the team gets him signed before the price of quarterbacks reaches $60 million a year. This would be a massive victory for the front office and would signal to the rest of the league that Houston is a destination where stars are rewarded and respected. It would create a sense of stability that could lead to more playoff runs and deep pushes into January. But then, there is the darker side of the coin to consider. Imagine if the negotiations turn sour and the player decides he wants to wait until he hits free agency to get every penny he can. If that happens, the tension in the building will be palpable every single week. Every interception or loss would be scrutinized through the lens of his contract demands. The fear is that the team might be forced to let other talented players walk away just to afford their leader later on. If it fails, we could see a repeat of the mistakes made by other franchises that waited too long and ended up overpaying for declining performance. The contrast is sharp, and the emotional weight is heavy for every diehard fan who has followed this journey. We want to believe that loyalty goes both ways, but the NFL is a business first and foremost. The risk of things going wrong is real, and it could set the franchise back years if not handled with extreme care. We are essentially watching a high-stakes poker game where the future of the Houston Texans is the prize on the table. If they get this right, the sky is the limit for this young core. If they get it wrong, we might be looking back at this moment as a missed opportunity to build something truly special. The clock is ticking, and the decisions made in the coming months will echo through NRG Stadium for a very long time. At the end of the day, we are talking about the most important player on the roster and the future of our franchise. The choice for the Texans is difficult because the market is moving faster than ever before. Do you pay the high price now to avoid an even higher one later, or do you wait and risk the relationship? It is a gamble either way, but having a franchise quarterback is a luxury many teams would kill for. We finally have our guy, and now we have to make sure he stays happy and motivated. I want to hear from you on this one because your opinion matters to the heartbeat of this team. Be honest with me, would you offer him $50 million a year right now just to end the uncertainty? Or would you rather wait another season to see if he can truly become the elite player we all hope he is? Tell me what you think in the comments below. And if you love the Texans as much as I do, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss an update on this story.